After Half-Life, Gordon was put into stasis by the G-Man, and that ended his story until Half-Life 2. However, this would not be the end of the story of the original Half-Life, as 2 expansions were released with 2 different perspectives of the Black Mesa incident. So in this video, I'll be tackling the expansions of Half-Life, and we'll see the incident from the perspectives of Corporal Adrian Shepard, a HECU soldier in opposing forces, and Barney Calhoun, a Black Mesa security guard in Blue Shift. So let's venture back into the Black Mesa facility, fight the forces of Xen once again, and for one last time deal with these unforeseen consequences. Seeing as this will be a shorter review than my previous Half-Life review, I'll be formatting the review by game rather than by different elements like the story and such. So with that out of the way, let's just delve into opposing forces. After a catastrophic accident at the Black Mesa facility, the HECU were dispatched to cover up what has happened and destroy the threat to Earth. Corporal Adrian Shepard and his squad is blown out of the sky by Xen forces, and because of this, Shepard never got the orders to kill the science team and kill Gordon Freeman in particular. So once Shepard wakes up, he works with the scientists to safely make his way through the facility. The further Shepard goes, the more scientists distrust him due to the HECU killing them. Once he makes his way to his fellow HECU soldiers, he learns that they are giving up on killing Freeman, which we actually do here in the original Half-Life.
Come in, Cooper. Do you copy? Forget about Freeman. We're abandoning the base. If you have any last bomb targets, mark them on the tactical map. Otherwise, get the hell out of there. Repeat, we are pulling out and commencing airstrikes. Give us targets or get below. Come in, Cooper. Do you copy? Forget about Freeman. We're abandoning the base. If you have any last bomb targets, mark them on the tactical map. Otherwise, get the hell out of there. Repeat, we are pulling out and commencing airstrikes. Give us targets or get below.
Unfortunately, while the soldiers begin to retreat from the facility, Shepard is left behind as the G-Man locks him behind a door, so Adrian must find a way to escape Black Mesa, stop the Black Ops soldiers that have come to finish the HECU's job, and stop the rest of the Xen forces. As Adrian, we get to see much more of Black Mesa. We see underwater laboratories, observation areas, and even areas that have been merged with Xen, which built upon the sense of scale that Half-Life provided. However, what Opposing Forces does so much better than Half-Life is just the sheer variety it has. Opposing Forces adds on so much to the original game. The science team went from 4 models to 5. Which, yeah, it doesn't sound that much, but in Half-Life there's only 1 model for the security force, but Opposing Forces increased that to 3. It just makes it feel a lot more unique, even if the one is just, a bumbling idiot. Also, there are 10 brand new weapons. There's the pipe wrench, the combat knife, the barnacle grapple, the 9mm pistol, the Desert Eagle, the M249 squad automatic weapon, the displacer cannon, the M40A1 sniper rifle, and the spore launcher. Obviously can't forget the shock roach though. I like the shock roach, pretty fun. Anyway, a few weapons such as the Shock Roach and the Desert Eagle replace already existing weapons like the Hive Hand and the Colt Python. However, unlike their original counterparts, they act quite differently. Like the M40A1 and the crossbow are very similar, however the sniper is an instant shot, whereas the crossbow is delayed. So there is a difference, but other than that, the gunplay is pretty much the same, not much to say. It's just like Half-Life. Anyway, certain weapons are a lot more effective on certain enemies, like in the original game. But there are quite a few new enemies. To replace the HECU as enemies, there are Black Ops soldiers, and there are a few new aliens called Race X, which are from a different world than Xen, and have quite advanced technology. Similar to the aliens from Xen, they use living weapons and are able to teleport, which is how these creatures are able to come to Black Mesa despite the Nihilanthe being stopped. Other than that though, Opposing Forces is just more of Half-Life, but it trims the fat. It has puzzles, platforming, and combat sections all the same as Half-Life, but much shorter, being only around 3 hours to complete, but it's a refined experience with a constant flow not slowing you down. The puzzles in this game, they're a lot clearer and will not leave you confused for a moment, allowing you to keep going at a constant pace. Shepard is equipped with a night vision goggles rather than a flashlight, which is honestly my biggest problem, because if you have even the slightest bit of light, you just get blinded by it, which makes it so you can't light up like an isolated area. However, it's only a minor little nitpick there. Platforming does not show up too much in this game, which is fine since platforming was never the strongest point of Half-Life. So, it's only a few far between, but there is a new mechanic, there's ropes.
Look, Gordon, ropes! We can use these for big pits.
Which adds a bit of variety, so that's pretty nice. Combat is largely the same, with a bigger focus on alien combat, which again is great since the aliens were much more interesting to fight in the original than the HECU. So, you know what, that's a nice and refreshing change of pace. Shepard's journey through Black Mesa has revealed more enemies than before. He found out that the Black Ops soldiers are getting ready to nuke the whole facility, and that Race X is going to invade through a portal. So it's up to Shepard to stop Race X's invasion, and stop the bomb from killing many innocent people. You fight through Race X and Black Ops soldiers until you're able to disarm the nuclear bomb that would kill everyone. And since the portal is still active, it's up to Shepard to stop it, so he makes his way to the nether portal and it summons a gene worm. The gene worm is basically able to assimilate Earth materials into alien resources, and that would make the planet a new homeworld for Race X. So you basically have to stop the gene worm before, it can actually do that. So by blinding the worm and shooting it in the stomach, you're able to kill it, and once it dies, the nether portal breaks and the worm creates a portal storm, which will in no way have any bearing on the story told in future games. Wink. Anyways, after killing the gene worm, we are greeted yet again by the G-Man on a HECU transport, and he tells Shepard that the Black Mesa incident has been fixed before the entire facility explodes from the nuclear bomb, and that Shepard has been spared. However, he must be detained due to his ability to survive against all odds, even though they already hired Gordon Freeman. However, unlike Gordon, Shepard doesn't really have a choice and is detained regardless, never to be seen again. Even to this day, he never showed up in Half-Life 2, or Alex, and he probably won't show up in Half-Life 3 whenever that happens, which probably never. Overall, Opposing Force is a much more refined Half-Life experience that can be experienced in one sitting. It is worth playing, and it's an amazing evolution in the original game. And with that, it's time to head back to Black Mesa just one more time, and see what Barney Calhoun is doing in Half-Life Blue Shift. Blue Shift takes place right before and during the Black Mesa incident. You play as Barney Calhoun, a security guard, and you have to head to work one day. Fairly standard stuff. You see a little cameo with Gordon Freeman, which you can actually see in the original game.
Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is...
So, it adds a bit of connection between the two games there. But regardless, Barney wanders through the facility until, the resonance cascade happens, and the elevator Barney is in crashes down. One thing I'll give the game credit for is it has a pretty good prologue. All three of these games do have good prologues. But after that, there's not much I can really say about Blue Shift. It simply just feels like more Half-Life. It feels like a step back from Opposing Forces. All the new weapons and enemies just don't show up in the game, and it's just stuff that was in the original. It makes the game just feel just more Half-Life, like, not an evolution, just more. Many of the environments are the same. There are sewers, desert, Zen levels, which just feels like more Half-Life. One thing that was changed, and you may have noticed, is all the models are upgraded. They all have a higher polygon count, however the models honestly look worse in my opinion. The aliens look fine, they just simply have more polygons, but the characters, like the NPCs, the humans, they look like Minecraft villages, and that's not in a good way. The weapons, they're all completely different. The Glock 17 was changed to the Beretta M9, and the M4A1 carbine was originally the MP5. The armor mechanic is different in this game. Instead of using the HEV stations, you just have to collect security armor, and honestly, that's the biggest innovation in the gameplay that it has here. Don't get me wrong, Blue Shift isn't that bad, it just feels like more Half-Life, like sort of an epilogue story, and that's just kind of true as the game is only about an hour long, and it's so tiny, despite coming out 2 years after Opposing Forces. This is different to Opposing Force, which feels more like a Half-Life 1.5, rather than the end of Half-Life. The only important NPC is Dr. Rosenberg, who helps Barney get out of the facility, and most of the game is just spent venturing around trying to power up a teleporter. Barney is told he needs to power up the teleporter, however, afterwards he is told that as crystalline Zen is stopping the ability to guide the teleportation, so after heading to Zen, it's time to teleport. Everyone has to teleport one at a time, and eventually they all make it to a car outside. But Barney is displaced and teleports around, while also seeing Gordon Freeman's kidnapping.
Outside for questioning. What the hell for? We got him. Let's kill him now. And if they find questioning. What the hell for? We got him. Let's kill him now. And if they find the body? Body? What body?
This will also not appear again in another Half-Life game, wink wink. Barney is eventually transported back to the car, and the doctors along with Barney Calhoun leave, and is too far away for the G-Man to recruit him, which finally ends the story of the original Half-Life. Overall, these two expansions are great experiences. Opposing Forces are a refined experience that evolves Half-Life in a satisfying way, and is really fun to play. And Blue Shift is simply short but sweet. Just doing more Half-Life, not necessarily improving on it, but just doing more of the same stuff. So if you can, absolutely play Opposing Forces, and if you are interested or prefer how the original worked, then Blue Shift is worth a try. It's very short and easy to beat. But yeah, if you want to see more reviews, make sure you subscribe. But that's it for my 2-part Half-Life review. In the future, I'll review Half-Life 2, but next time I'll be reviewing something different. So don't forget to like, and make sure you put on notifications when you subscribe as well, so you don't miss out. And yeah, I've been The Nova, and thank you for watching.